So this is Vortex. This is 24-inch wingspan model, and it's designed to ship well, easy to build, and under the 250 gram limit. So it will let you sneak in under that limitation by the FAA. So that's kind of a cool thing. Plus, it's a fast, little, fun model. You can fly in a small backyard. Once you get used to this thing, you can fly it inside of a baseball diamond. Um, but anyway, wanted to show you how to put this thing together, and the kind of the power pack and everything you're going to need for it, and show you how easy it is to build. Okay, so the first things we're going to do, I'm going to use foam tack. And also, here's a tip: if you have a roll of tape or something, you can leave this upside down. It makes it easier so that you can dispense your foam tack. So I'm going to take my foam tack, I'm going to put it on here and kind of spread it around there. And then I usually give it a little thinner spread here, okay? All right, and then you can kind of roll that glue off on your finger. Then I'm going to glue it onto the bottom of this. So, and then line it up. You got a little bit of time to move everything. Okay, and then make sure everything lines up nicely. There we go. And I'm going to put my lid back on here for now. Set it back in there. Okay, now remember your control horns and linkage stoppers are going to be on the bottom side of your plane. So we're going to lay this so the bottom side is up, and then I'm going to glue here, and then I'm going to set this on top of it. Okay, line everything up and set it on top of it. So I'm going to use my foam tack, and I'm going to glue the bottom of this, and we'll get right out to the edges, but stay about 1/4 of an inch in on all the sides, but get enough in there. And then I add just a little bit to that front edge there, and that's it. And we'll put our lid back on there, spread this with my finger so it gets a little whiter. Then we're going to lay this on, and again, make sure those control horns are up in the air, which means that we're gluing it onto the bottom here. And that's it. Then you can flip this over and just kind of check and make sure everything is lined up properly. Should line up really well, and you're basically on there. Okay, then turn it over and double check that you're pushed all the way forward and everything looks good. Okay, now we're going to glue the bottom onto the bottom of the Vortex. So this is the bottom part of your wing, and I'm gonna, now it comes with the keel already glued on, so you don't even have to worry about that. Now you can use hot glue, you can use foam tack, you can use that spray 77, works pretty good, and that basically is what we need to do, is just get our glue on here and get it so that we're going to stick to the bottom of this. Again, put my cap on here, set it upside down, spread this a little bit in here. Now you can see there's little cutouts here. They aren't cutouts, but they're markings, and that's where it's going to line up on the bottom of the plane. So I'm going to set this on here. I'm going to line everything up properly. I'm going to push it all down. I'm going to take a look at the other side, and I have to push it forward just a little bit to get it lined up in those squares, get my front end lined up, and we're looking really good right there, okay? So we've got that on there. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to glue our fins in. So we've got our fins here, and we're going to hot glue those in. So I've got my hot glue gun right here, and what you can do is just put a line of glue on both sides, right where the wing and the fin meet, and that'll kind of hold it in place for you. Then you make sure it's perpendicular, and then I usually push glue in here all the way to the front, okay? And then I put a little bit of pressure on the back of the plane and on the fin so that it sticks down so I don't get a gap on the back side of the plane. And with hot glue, it only takes like a minute here to kind of let it set up. And then I'll glue the inside. And then I'll do the same thing again. I will make sure the front and the back are down and seated against the fuselage. What it does, it keeps your wing flat so that you don't have any curvature in your wing. It keeps everything nice and flat. So got that side done, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Put a little bit of glue on here and here. It's just basically a straight line across there, and it'll stick it in there. Check my perpendicularity, and I will put glue on this side, and again I'm going to stick it down so that it's nice and flat. Okay, so we'll hold it here for a minute, and we should be good. You can always go back and add a little bit more glue if you missed any spots. But really all we want to do is get it in place, get both sides flat. And that's kind of an important thing. If you have one side that is not flat, you're going to get a little bit of a turn in your plane all the time. So make sure it's flat and everything looks good when you get it together. Okay, just add a little more glue where I missed any spot. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. So really, you're just about all together here. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to place our servos in. You can let it dry a little bit if you want, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to place our wire in first, and set up your servo and center it, and then place it inside the cutout. And what you want to do is put a little bit of glue in front and then back underneath where the mounting holes would normally be, and then push it down. Your servo's in. Same thing over here. I guess you could do it first. Put a little bit of glue in front and then back. Drop your wire down through there, and try not to get glue on it, and place your servo in the slot and push down. So now your servos are mounted. If you want, you can put a little line of glue on the top side, on the inside, just to secure your servos. If you ever need to take your servos out, you can actually put alcohol on there, and it'll release the hot glue, and it comes out a little bit easier if you do that. Okay, so now we've got our servos in there. We're going to put our push rods in, and so we're gonna take our little coffee straw here, or our guide for our push rod, and we're going to hook this in the front of the servo, the outside hole, and then we're going to take our Allen wrench. We are going to unscrew our set screw a little bit, And then we're going to get our, going to place our push rod inside of there. And with our arm at 90 degrees, because we pre-centered these servos, I'm going to actually snug it up a little bit and have our control surface flat. All right, and then you're going to gently push the guide against the bottom part of your rudder or your fin and glue your guide into place. Okay, and our guide will be right up against the fin, the bottom portion of the fin. We'll let that cool, and that worked out pretty good. We're going to do the same thing on this side. I'll give you a little bit of a different angle. We're going to make sure you put your straw over your wire and get your push rod in there. Then we can set our elevator flat. Now that you can adjust it once you get everything together and all that's and then again we're going to put our press this gently against the side, and we're going to glue our guide into place. All right, so that's in there, and we are done with that. Next thing we're going to do, it's nice and cool. We're going to, okay, this is our motor. This is an 1806 with the 5/4 3-blade on there. It's 2280 kV, which is the RPM of your motor, not the size of it. That's how fast your motor turns. 1806 is really the size. This motor will pull about 9 amps, 8 or 9 amps. It'll give you plenty of power. This is a 12 amp ESC we're using. And what we're going to do, we're going to place this, the motor mount, because we attached the motor to it first, and we're gonna push this down all the way so that the little ears sticking out on the motor mount are down. Okay, we're gonna make sure it fits in there, make sure that we're centered on the bottom on the two sides, and I'm gonna pull this back out. I'm gonna add glue to the area where we're going to mount the motor, and again I'm going to place this in here, just slide it in, make sure it's all the way down, and then hold it in place. So you want your motor mount, it isn't quite all the way down, so I want to make sure I get that down, and then I want to make sure I'm centered on the bottom, and then I'm going to hold it in place for a little bit. And then our motor will be mounted. I'm going to put a little line of glue across the top. I only use 3 screws on this mount, and use your shorter screws when you screw your motor to your mount. You can also add a little bit of glue down here if you want. There's a little bit of an edge sticking out. So, oops, I got a little extra part on there. Same thing over here, and we're looking good there. Okay, so our motor is glued on, it's mounted. Now the speed controller goes in the middle hole. It's on here. I usually just glue it in place. So I put a little bit of hot glue in there, and I push down. My wires are sitting out here. I can glue my wires down, and from this point on I will show you the one that we've already completed here. The receiver is in the hole closest to the motor. You want to glue your Velcro. I use the hook side, which is the one that's not fuzzy, and I glue that. I actually stick it there, and then I glue it on the front side, and then your battery will actually, a 450 will fit right in that slot.